All right, today we are in Module 3 on Topic 1, the workshop synthesis. This is where you're going to apply everything that you've learned in Photoshop to start creating some designs, some unique designs on your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine everything we learned in modules 1 and 2. So we're going to use the elements of art and Photoshop and our newfound skills to design 7 digital trading cards. And here you'll see my examples. So what I want you guys to be doing is to be picking a singular object that you're going to be using and repeating throughout these designs and a color scheme, because the goal is that these cards look like they were not only designed by the same person, but they have some unity and something holding them together. So color and subject is the easiest way to do so. Um, on here, you will see that kind of how you're going to set up on Photoshop. It's going to be a 3x4 inch document. You're going to use the elements of art to inform your design. So you're going to have one card that is going to mainly show line, one's going to show shape, one form, space, texture, value, color. I'm going to really quick go back into our folder. You'll notice that after topic 1, there is a link here to my example, and that'll open up here in Schoology. And this is ultimately the goal. You're going to create these 7 cards. You're going to place them into your module 3 journal. And I already have that set up for you just to drop your pictures. And each of your cards, and you can see in pink here, are going to have a singular element that you're going to focus on. So for this one, I focused on line, shape, space, value, color, texture, and form. Once we're done with this, you're going to, when you place these in, after you have your 7 designs done, you're going to look at these designs and you're going to see if you can recognize any of the principles. On this one, because I had these curving lines in the back and I have these uniform lines on front of it, I thought that you could see movement in there because it kind of draws your eye through and follows the path of the line. So this is kind of along the lines of what you're going to be doing. So then for shape, with that color blocking in the back, cutting it in half, and you can also cut it in half vertically, and it's the same on each side, I see balance, and so forth and so on. So this example is here for you to use. How you're going to get started is you're going to decide what your subject is. For me, I love plants, so I chose one of my favorite leaf shapes, which is the Monstera leaf. And I just started by searching for a Monstera leaf PNG, but I was really looking for something that was more silhouetted and more clip art based. So I found this one that was all black. And when you click on the image that you want, so I'm going to go, where did I find that? Here we go. So you'll see your image that you like. Make sure you click on it, and then make sure you put your mouse over here in the corner to see the pixel count. So this says 900 by 900. That's the minimum. I want you to always find images that are 900 images plus. So because this fits the bare minimum, that would work. I always like to right click and open my image in a new tab, and then just make sure I save it nice and big. The other thing I'm going to collect is a color palette. So if you have a color palette in mind, you could look for like a specifically blue color palette. Really, you just want to find something that speaks to you that you would like to use across the board. And the other thing I like to do is I like to find some line graphics. And this is just a personal preference, just to add some interest and texture. So I always look on here and see if I can find something that is real simple, black and white, that I might use for a background or to add some texture. And that is like specifically for my line design. I'm going to be looking for that. So let me look up line graphics, black and white. There we go. That's more along the lines of what I want. Okay. I'm going to land on that one so I don't spend too much time here. So again, I'm going to open my image in a new tab. I'm going to right click save. In Photoshop, I want you to create a new file, and I want you to make a 3x4 inch document. Always make sure your resolution is 300. Color mode for this can be RGB since we're not going to print it out. And we're going to hit create. And now I'm going to open the items that I saved. So I have my line pattern, my color palette, and my Monstera leaf. Right. Make sure all of those turned up. Okay. So now I'm going to take this. I'm going to select which actually, since it's all one color, I'm going to use the magic wand. I'm going to select my Monstera leaf, copy it, come to my new Untitled and paste. A little bit smaller. I'm going to select my color palette, and I'm going to keep this hidden, but this is going to be just for reference for me. I can use the teardropper and select those colors. And then, oops, I'm going to come over to my line graphic. And I'm going to, first I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to select the white background. And if I go up to select at the top and select similar, it'll select all the white and I can hit delete. So now I just have the lines and it's a true PNG. So I'm just going to use the dotted square tool to select, copy, come over to Untitled, and paste. There. Okay. So right now I have kind of a little layout to kind of get started. This is going to be the base that I'm probably going to come back to and just have all the things that I need. So I can copy and paste my leaf from, I can reference my color palette. I also have another example of this. This was from the examples from what you saw on my linked PowerPoint. This was the leaf I used. This was the color palette I had landed on. And from this, I created this color palette. So I made a darker pink and a darker teal to go from. Now, no difference in actually finding your color palette here and already having your colors to choose from. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I'm going to start to play and build these. I'm going to go ahead and hide my color palette for now. And I'm going to, so I have my line graphic in the back. I'm going to go ahead and make my Monstera leaf a little bit bigger. And I've decided already that I'm going to try to focus on line for this one, which is why I found the line graphic. So already, it already looks like you can start to see how these are kind of blending. So I have the lines over top of the leaf. If I put the leaf in front of it in the layer box, that goes away. But I liked how that looked. So with my leaf in front, I'm going to play with some blend modes. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to go through these blend modes and see if there's anything that works to blend these together. I'm not really seeing that right now. So let's try this. Let's put that back underneath and go to the lines and try to blend mode those. All right. It's really subtle on this, but you see how this one has a little screen and you can see if I click on this, you all of a sudden have some leaves or some lines in the leaf pattern. It's not dramatic enough though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to color my Monstera leaf. So I'm going to go to that layer. I'm going to open up my paint bucket. I'm going to come over here to my color picker and I can just move my mouse off of here to get the teardropper. And I'm going to make this lime green color. And now I'm going to go back to my lines and see what I can do if I go to screen. Where was that at? All right, now it's almost totally gone. So I'm going to try a different one. Here we go. Soft light is giving me kind of a cool little line pattern through here. And if I bring my Monstera leaf down, it'll fill more. And then I can go to my line layer. I'm going to hide the color palette for now. And I'm going to hit free transform. And I'm going to rotate this and make it a little bigger so it fills my leaf. So this is using all things that we have already learned. We've learned how to free transform. We've learned how to use blend modes. Now we're actually applying it to designing. So I have this leaf here. I like how these kind of come through and create some cool patterns. Now I'm going to go to my background and turn on my color palette and see if I can pull out one of these other colors. I'm going to fill with the paint bucket. Okay, didn't anticipate that happening. Now I can see all the lines. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to try something different. Let's see. So I don't want the lines to show. What I can do now, I could maybe merge these two layers so that those lines stay. So I'm going to hold shift and select both layers and go to layer, merge. Okay, that got rid of what I wanted it to happen. So let's try this. Since it's all one, now I'm gonna select the leaf. Let's try this. I'm gonna step back. This is all to show you guys how I do my process. And in Photoshop, it's a lot of trial and error. So we're going to try things. If we like them, we're going to stick with them. And if not, we're going to try something else. All right. So now that I have that over there, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the object selection tool and select my leaf. And then I'm going to go onto my line layer. Well, before I do that, I'm going to go to select inverse to flip that selection. And then when I go to my line layer, I'm going to hit delete. So you're not going to see everything that's behind here that's not visible. But right now I've selected everything behind it. And if I hit delete, all that's going to be left is going to be the lines on the leaf. And you might not see it right now, but when I go to my background and I try to fill again, now it's gone. Now this looks really cool. I think it might be a little bit cooler if I do a gradient. So I'm going to pull up my color palette. I'm going to go to gradient here and I'm going to actually create a new gradient. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on these colors and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select colors that are not green. And actually, I think for that one, I'm going to go dark blue and then light blue. And I think I'm going to divide it with the green, with the orange in between. Let's see what this looks like. Once I hit OK, when I click and drag my gradient, I can get kind of a cool background going. Now that I look at this, I think I want to have the blue be in the middle. So I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to switch this to yellow, switch this to yellow, and have blue be the center so that when I drag it, it makes my leaf pop out just a little bit more. And now I can take my leaf and position. Oh, I'll have to hold shift to move them together. There's some little parts I didn't delete yet. We can get those here. Go to the line layer. Select all that up into the leaf and delete. Okay. This is really simple, and I think I could actually go a little bit farther with it. I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to select both of these. So stretched really big. I'm going to make my leaf a little bit smaller, which is going to bring some more lines in, which is fine. I just need to delete those. And use that dotted square tool again to get everything that's outside of the leaf. And down here. And now what I might do to kind of really punch up the lines is I might come back to my line graphic. It's already selected. And copy and paste this in again, but put it behind. And then I might bring the opacity down so it's a little bit more subtle. Find the right position for this guy. I have a little bit peeking in again here, so I'm going to delete that. All right. So right now I have a design that's got a lot of like motion and movement to it, a lot of different line qualities happening. I'm not seeing my whole color scheme here, so I might want to incorporate some orange. So I think what I'm going to do, select my orange. I'm going to hide these. I'm going to bring this opacity back up. With my magic wand, I'm going to select the black and go to select similar. So it gets all the black. And then I can use my paintbrush. That went to the eraser. Let's try that again. There we go. Use the paintbrush to paint orange over this. I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger so this goes quicker. All right, now I have some orange, which actually looks pretty cool. Maybe instead of doing opacity now, I can do a blend mode on this. I don't want to lose my orange, but it could make it a little bit more subtle. Well, that's kind of cool too. It's going to be hard to choose. All right, let's do pin light. Not sure if there's a big difference between that and normal. I think it just lightens up this a little bit, which is kind of cool. Let me bring my other lines back in. All right. I think at this point, see what I can do with the lines on here to see if I can make those pop a little more without being black. Okay, new idea, last idea. I'm going to do the same thing with these lines. I'm going to select the black and select similar. This time I'm going to select my blue, use the paintbrush, get rid of the black. Now let's play with the blend mode on this. Let's see what I can get. Kind of like that softer screen, and I can also bring the opacity down a little bit so it's even more soft. Now I'm a little bit closer to something that I think looks pretty cool. I'm going to take my orange lines and I'm going to bring them down. Free transform to increase the size. Just curious if it fills the whole background, what that looks like. Or do I want it to just come around? Kind of like the overlap. I'm going to get that nice and big. I'm going to reposition this one just a little bit right in the middle. And I think I'm going to call it a day on that one. So I have my color palette, I have my object, and I've really focused on line here. Not only do I have the lines of the leaves itself, I have the lines overlapping the leaf and then the ones behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this one on my computer, title it line. I'm going to click save a copy so I can make it a JPEG. And I have my first design completed. The possibilities here are endless. I just want to remind you that the things that we have learned this year, from image adjustments, there's all kinds of things we can do here. If I go to this first layer, I can go to image adjustments, hue and saturation. I can play around with the color and plot a different color on my leaf entirely to kind of bring in that color scheme again if I wanted to play with that. Under image adjustments, you can desaturate something when you're working with value. You can invert color. We've also learned under filter how to use the filter gallery. So you can play around with filters to get some texture. But really, the whole point of this is to play and apply your learning and to see what you can do combining images here in Photoshop. So take your time, try things, know that your history is always here, to step back if you do something you don't like. But the more you play, the more you're going to discover and the stronger your designs are going to be.